What's up, nature freaks?
What's going on, guys?
Dave and Jerry back again in the studio with another Saturday slap in the face.
Yep, and recently we've been talking a lot about reptiles and amphibians, but today we are going to be talking about another feared and misunderstood critter, the tarantula.
So whether you have arachnophobia, love them, hate them, stick around because it's going to be awesome.
Nature in your face!
All right, guys, here we have three representatives of New World tarantulas. We have a curly-haired tarantula from Nicaragua and Costa Rica. We have a salmon pink bird-eating tarantula from Brazil. And Jeremy is holding the Tucson Blonde tarantula from Arizona here in the U.S.
Salmon bird eater. That sounds like a delicious spider, doesn't
Doesn't it?
it? Get your omega-3 from that thing.
Yeah, we're just going to let him cruise. I mean, that's what spiders do. So if he gets too far, I'll just put my hand in front of him. All right, so guys, we're going to talk about the Tucson Blonde tarantula first, since it's from right here in the U.S., the good old USA. And since that's Jeremy's spider, I'm going to let him take over and talk all about it.
Yeah, so first of all, we're a little partial, I think, I am anyway, to this because we've been to Arizona so many times. We've seen a ridiculous amount of these spiders. I don't know the age of the spider. When I bought it, it was already an adult. It's probably a wild-caught specimen from the Phoenix, Tucson area. Now, this is a female. The females have the blonde legs. They literally give it the name, the Tucson Blonde. They get the blonde legs. The males will be all black, much larger abdomen. The males are skinnier. So these are the prettier, I think. They make really great captives.
They do.
Because they're super chill, not only in captivity, but you can literally pick them up in the wild.
We've picked them up dozens of times in the wild.
Yeah, I think one time did we have one that was like, nah, not today.
And it was, of course,
Of course, right, because you get bit by everything, and I'm just like, I get pooped on.
Yeah.
Yeah, speaking of pooped on, we use these as educational animals, and so, you know, we do let people hold these very carefully. We're very cautious about that. If you are going to handle them, you want to make sure you don't drop them. If you were to handle a spider for the first time, a tarantula, and you're not super sure about how the animal is going to behave, I would definitely recommend that you are seated on the ground, because if you drop one of these,
It's going to explode.
yeah, it's either going to die or it's going to break a leg, and then they don't regrow that leg until they molt.
Yeah. All right, so we'll probably talk a little bit more about him, but we've got two other spiders here that we want to talk about. Yeah, so this right here is the biggest of these three spiders. In fact, it is one of the top 5 largest spiders in the world. It's a little bit misleading because it's not done growing. This is a male, it's about to molt, and when they're molting, they stop eating, so they lose a little bit of weight in the abdomen, so it's not quite as big as it can get, but we'll get some B-roll of it and show you. I mean, they've got a huge leg span.
And it's missing some hairs on the back, which is another sign.
We'll talk about the urticating hairs in a minute. But anyway, guys, this one is from Northeastern Brazil. Very painful to be bitten by this guy, but again, all three of these spiders are very docile spiders, and I suppose unless you really angered this spider or squeeze it, you're not going to see any defensive behavior from these guys. They all make great pets. The reason I don't recommend this one is simply because, as Jeremy mentioned, the hairs on these spiders can be very irritating.
I will not even take that spider.
Yeah,
out.
and he's much more
I'll be
sensitive.
ripping my skin off.
Yeah, I mean, picture diving in a just giant bed of fiberglass insulation. That's exactly what it is. It's not going to kill you, but some people do have more sensitive skin and more sensitive to their urticating hairs. It can cause rashes, and like he said, you literally want to crawl out of your skin. That's the only reason I don't handle this spider. I used to, but I just got tired of itching, so I don't handle them anymore.
And that would be best case scenario, getting them on your hands. I've heard of people just cleaning out their enclosure, getting them in their eyes, or inhaling, and that's what they're meant for. If a predator, comes to the back of the tarantula, they kick these hairs off, gets right into the eyes and the sensitive areas of that animal. But if you got that in your eye, I don't even want to know.
No, it could cause serious damage.
What that would do, yeah, it could jack your eye up for sure.
Yeah.
So that's the downside to keeping the New World tarantulas anyway that do have the urticating. Not all tarantulas have the urticating hairs. These are some of the more commonly kept docile species, including that birdie.
Now, we don't have one here, but the rose-hair tarantula for years was the most common pet tarantula.
The OG.
Yep, for sure. This one has actually overtaken it in the pet trade as probably the #1 most common species kept by hobbyists, the salmon bird eater. So I don't know why. That kind of surprises me because that's a good lead into this spider here, which is the curly hair tarantula. This one, I mean, I use this as a part of our educational shows. The hairs are not really that bothersome. They don't flick. I've held this thing thousands and thousands of times. I let kids hold it. It has never, ever shown any type of defensive behavior whatsoever. So
they're funny looking tarantulas.
Yeah,
they got a bad hair day because they're all, the hairs are curled up and frizzy.
Yeah, and one thing we should mention, guys, a lot of people think that, you know, by saying these are good pets, it's not a good idea because kids, I'll get him.
You want me to give you that?
Sure. Okay, hold this one. But honestly, have you ever heard, and I'm sure, Jeremy, you've heard this too, that a spider can sense, or an animal in general can sense when you're afraid? That's not really what happens. If you're afraid, you're going to make movements that may cause the spider to think that you're trying to harm it. So it would be comparable to if a bee was buzzing around you. Just sit still, it's not going to harm you. But if you start, flailing your arms around trying to hit it, it might sting. If you're holding a tarantula and you become nervous and you're doing this, it can bite. So
that's with any animal.
True.
Just jerky, short, erratic movements kind of freak them out.
And sometimes we learn that the hard way. We let a kid hold a tarantula, and the kid, I'm okay with it. You put it in his hand. The second you put it in his hand, he starts freaking out, which is not only...
And that's happened more in the past. Over the years, I feel like
we've learned not to
gone away from...
So that's they're either gonna drop the spider, or they're gonna get bit. But I've never seen any aggression of any of these spiders. So check this out, guys.
Oh.
So cool. I don't know if the camera's picking that up, but there you go. I think you can see it.
It's like that.
So this is a fibrous protein. It's actually liquid in the abdomen, and once it hits the air, it dries out. But I just think it's so cool. The kids at the shows love this. It's just really cool to see.
Yeah, a lot of people do ask that. Like, they picture, if you do X-ray vision of the abdomen, that like a spindle is just inside of there holding the thread, and it's not. It's liquid in there, and then those enzymes mix with it, and then when it comes out of those spinnerets, and they can make different types of web. But I mean, spiders in general are incredible. If you're afraid of a spider, I challenge you to just start learning as much as you can about them.
It's an overrated, dangerous.
You're gonna flip the switch, and you're gonna be fascinated by spiders. And the tarantulas are just, I guess a lot of people think they're cuter. Some people are afraid of the little tiny spiders,
which is
and
understandable.
not
Same
the
with
tarantula.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like dogs too. Like, keep your chihuahua away from me. But bring that Rottweiler any day.
We cannot overestimate the importance of spiders. The amount of insects that spiders, generally speaking as a whole, is ridiculous. They carry 0 germs or diseases that they transmit to people. So if you get rid of spiders in your yard because you fear them, you're going to have a lot more mosquitoes. Mosquitoes can carry 41 known diseases they can transmit to humans. So guys...
The housefly, that's a disgusting animal.
Yeah.
Necessary, but the spiders take care of that.
And even if they don't eat the insects that they trap in their web, because some of them are so tiny they're not even able to really eat them, but they trap them, so they're getting rid of them. And I read a stat, pretty incredible. 88 million metric tons of insects are trapped in spider webs on an annual basis around the world, which is amazing to me. So, try to get over your fear of them. If they're out of your house, don't kill them. If they're in your house, try to scoop them.
Are those just American spiders? Because I know Americans are known to eat more than others.
At first, I thought you were serious.
No, definitely not serious. So really quick, not only do they make good pets, even beginner pets, I would say, even that salmon bird, because they're known to be docile. These are all ground-dwelling species. That's important if you're going to get one of these as a pet. You want to know how you're going to set this up. It's very, very important. These are tropical right here, so they appreciate a little more humidity, especially during molting. This is a desert species, so they like it dry. They are not fans of moisture and humidity. Now, I do give this one water. It will drink every once in a while, but it mostly gets its moisture from the insects that it eats. So they don't need to climb. They can stay on the ground. They burrows. They'll dig in there. They'll hide under that. If you are going to get like a pink toe or something that would climb, you're going to need to provide an area to get off the ground.
One of the reasons the salmon pink tarantula or salmon pink bird eater is so common is because in the habitat where it lives, there's a dry season and a wet season, so they're super easy to keep in captivity. You don't have to constantly watch the humidity because they've adapted to be able to survive in really arid conditions. And sometimes, especially for younger kids, if they have a tarantula or any type of pet, they get bored of it and they don't pay attention to the humidity and things like that. This is probably the one to get, because if you forget to do that, it's going to be okay.
Yeah, and as far as feeding spiders, I mean, that's like one of the easiest things to keep. It's kind of like if you want a pet that you don't necessarily have to handle or interact with, like a goldfish. People get goldfish or, a betta. They're like, oh look, there it is. This is kind of the equivalent of that, but I think it's cooler, and you get to see it kill stuff. You could just throw some crickets in there, some roaches that you would, like dubias that you can get from the pet store, and watching them eat is incredible because they don't really move a whole lot. They're super chill, but as soon as they feel that movement of that insect, then
it's
they're
funny. It's almost like they cradle it underneath their jaws. And then they just... It's funny because they literally liquefy their prey.
Just going to drink it like smoothies.
They don't really drink it up, they eat it, but it's almost like a
protein shake. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome critters,
Incredible
guys.
animals. Yeah, and we could talk about these forever, but we don't want to make this super long.
We basically just want to tell you guys that tarantulas can make great pets despite their creepy appearance, their 8 legs, their 8 eyes, the hairy body.
100%. And they do have claws. Some people freak out about the claws because they tickle a little bit, but that's pretty cool. And you can feel the little retractable claws, like this little leg.
Yep, and it allows them to hang on upside down. All right, guys. Well, it was a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoyed learning about the tarantulas.
And let us know in the comments if you guys keep tarantulas, if you have any questions about these tarantulas, or if you would like us to do another similar video, or on some other spiders. I don't know. Hit us up in the comments, and we'll
see you guys in the next episode of Nature in Your Face.